Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and get swapped over, get situated. I can count you down, but before I count you down, tell us about you and your commentator.
Well, I'm Lizzyberry 22. I speedrun NieR Automata, and I play variety games. So that's me. And I have a wonderful commentator here, galasrinie, also.
Hi, I'm galasrinie. I also run a bit of NieR Automata, and I'm going to be here to help Lizzie a bit with her run and provide emotional support.
Yeah, for anyone who's played this game, emotional support is critical when trying to endure a Yoko Taro story, as we discussed while we were on the break. But with that being said, are you ready for a countdown?
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, well, this is NieR Automata, or Automata, however you want to pronounce it. This game is jam-packed full of skips and tricks and out of bounds and all that fun shenanigans. So settle in, because we're going to have a really fast-paced next hour and 45 minutes. Like all amazing speedrunning games, this one starts out with a 1.5-minute long cutscene, followed by a section that doesn't allow you to pause and restart the game for another 3 minutes. So, you know, we just make the best of it that we can. But that gives us a lot of time to talk about what's going to be happening here in the early stages of this game. So for those of you who've never played a NieR game, or Drakengard, I want to say, because I think this is based off of an ending from one of the Drakengard games. This game combines shoot 'em up sections, which we start off with here, which is like old school Asteroids, that's or some other like top-down shooter situation type of game. It has some 2D dungeon platforming sections, and then it's also a third-person action-adventure game. So there's a lot going on in this game, and it does a really great job of navigating how to do that. But the very first thing that we're going to be doing is taking intentional damage. The reason being, if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner right now, we have these small recoveries and medium recoveries, and there was a large recovery there. And these are items that the game just gives you right at the start, probably because the intro is crazy tuned. It's just really hard during a casual playthrough. So it gives you all of these items, which is really nice, except that they get in the way for the speed run, because you'll see once we land on the ground that there is a quick menu that I will access all the time to give buffs to B, attack buffs and defensive buffs that I have to move through the menu to get to them. And the recovery items are in the way of those buffs. It always goes recovery items, small to large, and then you have your buffs, and then you have other things as well. So the goal here is to take some intentional damage so that we have those items out of the way from the menu. It saves literally just fractions of a second each time, but with a game as optimized as NieR Automata, that is what it takes to get a really good time. So we've just gotten done with the first like top-down section, and it brings us into this like next area of top-down where it gives you the ability to like swing around. We have our long-range gun, and we have our melee attacks that we can do, and that happens during the main game and also during these shoot-'em-up sections. What's nice is that this area is completely scripted. It comes in the same way every single time, and so if you know what's going on, then you can just sort of fly up to the corner here, swing your sword a bunch, and then fire your lasers off to the sides where the enemies are going to be coming in, and you're able to just take them out incredibly quickly. Once we get through that first section, while it looks sort of like an auto-scroller, it's not actually. The faster you kill the enemies there, the faster you get through this section. So it's always important to get through those as quick as possible. Next, I want to draw your attention back down to the bottom left-hand corner. Besides having the recoveries, we also can change our weapon set while we're down there. And we're going to want to do that because we want to have weapon set 2 on. Weapon set 2 puts the virtuous contract on the heavy attack button so that we're able to do what's called damage glitching. Damage glitching is where you dash and then you fire, or you use a heavy attack with a small sword equipped, and you will, in a 1 to 30 frame window, so you have about a second to do this, and you will get, you'll end up doing about 5 times as much damage. So instead of doing 15 to 20 damage per hit, we're gonna be doing 120, or 110 to 120 damage. Along with that, it just so happens that the attack animation for that is that 2B will throw out her sword and it will sort of spin around for a little while. So you end up getting residual hits as well, 4 or 5 or 6 hits with the sword that are all 5 times as much damage. I need to know what skin our pod is going to be.
Your skin for today is... It looks like it's a fan favorite of Grimoire.
Beautiful. I love this skin. We now have a lovely book for our pod. Unfortunately, if I recall, because it's been a long time since I played casually, if I recall, it doesn't actually change the pod to the snarky book from NieR Replicant, but it does change the look, which is obviously amazing. So thank you everyone who donated for that incentive. If you look carefully, you will notice that the damage that I'm outputting is a whole lot. 110, 162 I just saw there at the very end. We're doing a whole lot, and that's all due to damage glitching. But also, you can flash your light on your pod program, and that will taunt enemies, which will double the amount of damage that they take. It also doubles the amount of damage that they do, so it's sort of, you know, a risk-reward situation. There we go. It's sort of a risk-reward situation where you want to do a whole bunch of damage, but you don't want to take a whole bunch of damage. So you need to be sort of careful with it also. And then along with that, like I said, there's damage buffs as well, which allow you to do just a crazy amount of damage at any given time, which allows us to push through this game in a very quick pace. We finally have gotten done with the sort of section that forces you through all these fights, and now we get into a little bit of platforming, and there's something about this game where walls are optional. So as you see, we are immediately going out of bounds as soon as we can. We're hopping over this direction, which is to an area which you can get to in the game. It expects you to come back here either when you're just exploring the dungeon, or when you're coming back for side quests is when it expects you to find that. That's gonna happen a lot. So be prepared for a lot of out-of-bounds shenanigans. Now, I did talk about how combat had this damage glitching. Combat is the very best way that you're ever going to save time in this game. While there are a whole lot of out of bounds and a whole lot of other things, the fastest way to improve your time is going to be combat, because there's only so much that you can do in terms of like the out of bounds and the skips will only get you so far. There's a literal hard cap on how fast that will make you, but with combat, that has a very high skill ceiling. And so combat will always be the best way to save time. Now, the next skip here is this bridge, which is absolutely intended to be a way that you come back from around when you come back, because you lower this bridge on your return trip into this dungeon, but instead of doing that, we're just gonna jump right over it. There we go. We get on top and we just sort of jump over this large gap. This takes us deep into the factory area, where we'll just find our way to this little corner here. We'll do a little hop, skip, and a jump off screen, and we will plunge out of bounds. Maybe. There we go. We will plunge out of bounds again, because as I said earlier, walls are optional. Next, we're going to come up here to this invisible wall, and we're going to do something that the game does not tell us about, which is called pod launching. Fortunately, I went a little too far there, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going. It's not the end of the world. Pod launching is where you tap your pod fire button and you tap jump button at the same time, and 2B will grab a hold of her pod and her pod will throw her forward. It's really great at getting some fast motion, which will allow you to break through some invisible walls. So I use that several times. Next, you'll notice that for movement right now, I am just dashing along. At the moment, dashing is the fastest mode of transportation that we have. here in just a few minutes. The game will strip us of our weaponry, allowing us to have a bare-fisted monk-style combat in one of our weapon slots, which allows us to dash punch, dash punch, dash punch. And then even later still, we will get an upgraded sword, and that will allow us to move. That will allow us to move just slightly faster still. So those are the 3 types of movement that you're going to see, and we're going to be getting that third form of movement pretty quick. It's fairly early in the game that we upgrade that sword, but I will be sure and point it out when we get there. We go ahead and we fight through all these waves of enemies, and we just dash, dash, dash our way along. And I do want to point out that as we round this corner, Tubi is going to make note of the birds that are here. She hasn't ever seen birds before. But 9S has, and he has because it shows during his scenario that he's literally just sitting around bird watching instead of doing his job, which is scouting on the machines that are here. So that is the first time in a long string of times that 9S just does shenanigans that 9S does. So I want everyone to keep track of how many times 9S does something weird or odd or against Android protocol, and see how many you get at the end. I know I have a number, and I'm going to be donating $5 for every single time that happens. So I will give you my count at the end, and I hope everyone else will join in that fun game as well. Here we have the next mini-boss, which looks very much like the mini-boss we ran into earlier, this big digger scraper thing named Marks. Here we just go ahead and pop a buff, and we damage glitch him down. We only have to do half of his health worth of damage. And once we get that done, then that will move us on to the next phase of this fight. That was a beautiful one cycle there. And it gives me some time to talk about another thing that is brought up in this, or another piece of movement that happens in this game that the game just doesn't ever tell you about, which is called launching, or lifting. Lifting, sorry, not launching. If you jump and then press heavy attack in quick succession, you will do a swooping motion and get a lot of height, and it's sort of like an aerial attack. It looks like this. Keep note of that because we're going to be using that a lot in this game to get extra height, but specifically several times we are going to use that and get and be able to do it again. It's interesting to note that you can do it several times because the game only allows you to do it while you're standing on the ground once. As soon as you leave the ground, if you used it to leave the ground, that's your turn of using it, and if you didn't use it to leave the ground, you can use it once while you're in the air, but you can only use it that one time. But there is a technique that we use called double lifting, where if you do it on a slanted surface, such as stairs or some slanted rubble, then the game will register as you being on the ground when you're in that animation, so it lets you do it again. So we'll double lift several times to get a lot of height. I'll be sure and point out next time that happens, which will be coming up very soon. This part of the boss here is very straightforward because it's just literally on an auto-scroller timer. We have to wait like 30 seconds in this fight, or 45 seconds or something, before Tubi decides he's done bird watching and is going to show up and help us fight, which happens just right now. So now that he's joined the fight, Angles is like, whoa, now I actually have to deal with these androids? And he's like, okay. So he dips under the water and he decides that he's going to attack the bridge to try and get rid of me so he can then focus on 9S. Unfortunately, 2B is way too quick and way too awesome, so that just doesn't work. We only have to do something like 20% of his health bar here, 15 or 20% of his health bar, and he's not actually really a danger because he just likes to throw his claw there in the middle. So as long as we just get enough damage in during this section, then we are golden. You'll know that we've done enough damage because his health bar will disappear. I'm getting a little nervous that we haven't done enough yet, but hopefully hopefully this will be done here pretty soon. Once that happens, you basically, there we go. Now you just get to sit around and do whatever you want while he finishes swinging at the bridge until he decides that he's done with us and he's going to fire some missiles, of which 9S decides he's going to hack them and redirect them back at him. Something happens in this cutscene that causes 9S to get injured. I don't remember what, because it was 8 months ago when I casually played through this game. But all I know is we need to go rescue him. So we dash here twice, and then we're gonna lift, and maybe we're gonna lift again. Lift, lift, jump, heavy jump, and we're gonna make our way all the way up to this next platform, which saves us having to walk all the way around this big giant robot several times over. We're gonna come all the way to the very top where 9S is hanging out, and we're gonna fight what I contend to be the squirreliest, hardest group of enemies in the game. They just refuse to ever have good combat. That's probably the best I've ever done in that section, so I'm gonna call that marathon luck. That went so smoothly because I have just never seen them go so quickly before. Next we have, this is basically the final phase of this boss here, where we're back in our flight unit now, and I'm going to continually be dashing around to his back because it influences him. It's not 100%, but it has a tendency to influence him to swing his arm around at us like that, like he's trying to swat a fly. And that's important because this fight, you can only progress so far until this conversation that they're having is over. So we just need to do damage while this conversation is happening, and then once it's over, we want him to swing at us to knock us out of the arena, which starts the final part of the fight. It also has a tendency to, but with him swinging at us, he also doesn't use long attack animation attacks like launching missiles at us. This is actually perfect how quickly he decided to swing at us. This is amazing. This is basically the best RNG we could have gotten for this fight. He knocks us out of the fight and we fly back. You don't even have to do anything. You just hold the button to shoot and the game will move you away from his laser, and you'll get your last few ticks of damage in before 2B smashes into him, commandeers his arm, and we get to hit him with it, which is just this massive piece of machine arm that we get to hit him with. Of note, we're going to go ahead and attack and then dash to immediately reset the attack animation to save just a few frames, and that is the end of the intro. We go ahead and skip here, and now what happens in that cutscene is that 9S and 2B have touched their black boxes together, causing them to self-destruct and to destroy the enemies that are all there on the ground, what that does is we've now reloaded back up on the bunker without all of our weaponry or all of our items that we had during the intro, which allows us to do that dash punch movement I was referencing earlier. Dash punch, dash punch, dash punch. Perfect. Had a momentary freak out there because generally I like to save there, but nothing bad happened, so we are good. Next up, the game loads us back up in our new body, and because we're in new bodies, all of our game configuration settings are obviously gone, so we have to reset them. So we adjust our screen brightness, and we tell 9S that it's okay, and then we have to turn up the audio volume because apparently we have to listen to him chatter sometimes. 1 tick is good enough. I don't really need to hear him. And most importantly, we are turning on self-destruct. Self-destruct is something that is used in multiple ways in this run. When you're in the air, you can tap self-destruct extremely quickly, the fastest tap you've ever had. If you can get it to 1 frame, that's what you want to do, because it stops whatever you're doing, but it refreshes your heavy attack 1 single time. So that allows us to get just a little bit of extra height sometimes when we need it. Another useful thing that it does for us is at the end of one of these boss fights, you're going to see me actually blow up 2B. We do that so that we can end up with basically no health after the fight so that we can death warp later. I'll be sure and show you that when we get to it. We make our way to the commander so she can give us our mission to go back to the Earth. And then we make our way over to the hangar. But, you know, who needs elevators when we have 2B's aerial movement? So we just jump our way up, and then we dash punch, dash punch, dash punch our way along to the hangar, where we will get in our flight suits and head back down to Earth for Shoot 'em Up section number 2. Okay. Oh, just a little early there. Alrighty. Now that we are back down in Earth's wonderful, glorious atmosphere, I do want to make note, although you can't hear him, NieR is saying, why do you think they sent a combat model on a recon job? Like, I could have just done this. This is another one of those situations that I think NieR is just complaining about about the situation that he's in. So that's time number 2 for me. So pay attention to his conversation. This is very similar to the intro where it is scripted. The enemies come in the exact same way every single time, which is lovely for us speedrunners because there's no RNG to contend with right here. It's amazing. We just get to hang out and shoot these robots as they come in. It's very important that you're careful of where you're actually shooting and taking damage because you don't want to take any. The game took away all of our healing items, and while it would expect you in a casual playthrough to go ahead and buy some while you're up there on the bunker, we don't, because we don't need them because we're good runners, right? Except when you're me and you have a tendency to die in this section and it takes you back to the very beginning of this shoot 'em up section. So you really want to be careful to not take damage there as much as you can because we have no healing items until we get to the resistance camp. We finally get done with that section, which is a nice short little burst of one, and we land back on the ground here. Our goal here is to get to the resistance camp, and it's going to allow me to show off a really cool piece of movement that I don't think I've been able to show yet, which is called the plunge. When you're in the air, you can dash and then hit heavy attack, and you will plunge your way to the ground as fast as you can. As you can see, when we have a small sword in our heavy attack slot, 2B plunges in a diagonal movement, which is extremely fast because we go down to the ground quickly and we go out. So, obviously diagonal or straight lines are the fastest way to a destination, and diagonal lines are generally the fastest way to get there. So, we make our way over here to the resistance camp, and I want to make note that I am specifically attacking as I move into cutscene triggers. I've done it a few times, but I haven't brought it up until now. If you punch or you jump or you attack into a cutscene trigger, what happens is instead of 2B stopping what she's doing and walking like three or four paces, costing us 5 seconds, the game instead just automatically cuts over into the cutscene. So it's a very incredibly easy way to just save time. That's like one of the first things I in air quotes learn, because it's not really something you learn how to do. It's just that you just start doing it because it saves time. The game then, once we get to the resistance camp, we go and we talk to a few people. The game gives us some quests, which I think is the game's way of saying, hey, these are quests. You can see them down in the mini map on the bottom right hand corner. You see the marked red spaces, and you find them on people that have red squares above them. And they, if they're off the immediate mini map, then they'll show up as like a red square, off in the distance to show you what direction you need to go. So this is the game telling us how we need to, or what quests look like. Hilariously, that's the only time we ever pick up quests is right here at the very beginning. We go and we collect our things that we need for the first quest, and we make our way over to the second quest area. It's very important that you make note of where you kill these enemies, because while the first quest just had the items laying on the ground, this quest has them dropping from enemies. So you need to pay attention to where they are or where you killed them, so that you know where the items can drop from, because they drop from 3 of those 5. And because the items are yellow, and because the ground is sort of yellow and the grass is sort of this greenish yellow, it's really easy for those to get lost in the just forest of the grass, that you can spend literal minutes just searching for them during a casual playthrough because you don't know that they've been dropped. So it's really important to pay attention to where you're killing those enemies, so that you know where that they can be dropped from. Next, we come back and we turn these quests in, and this is introducing us to weapon upgrades. Weapon upgrades is as I mentioned earlier, is a way for us to get faster movement because the game gives us all of the items that we need from finishing that quest to upgrade our sword. So we obviously upgrade our sword, and then we now have the fastest form of movement that I will be getting in this game. Right here at the very beginning. Isn't it lovely? We finish up getting those quests, and we talk to Anemone again, and we head on off to the desert. I do want to mention that while we were running back, because I have 9S so low you can't really hear him, but he did complain about doing those side quests. He called them chores. Like, this is how 9S is. Like, this is a reason that I'm just not a huge fan of 9S in this game. So, you know, that's time number 3. In the first, I don't know, what are we at, 20 minutes of this run, that 9S has complained or broke Android protocol or complained about his situation. So there's a
I'm sorry,
reason.
I'm just laughing I'm just laughing at the protocol. I couldn't hold it in anymore. It's like, 9S, you're so annoying.
He is, isn't he? Like, my goodness, 9S. My goodness.
Oh my gosh. I do want to poke in really fast and remind everybody that when you're donating, we do have a challenge open right now for Super Mario World 11 Exits. So make sure that when you go to donate, you get those prizes. Make sure you're trying to go in and get your small necks and your PS5s and all those things. But also, we want to make Frozen do 11 Exits. Get them in there.
Okay. So here we are at the desert, and we're doing our first of 2 shopping trips. My goodness. I want 1 resilience plug-in chip. That is the most important thing I'm buying here. I'm buying some healing items and some buffs and a resilience chip. And if you're wondering, hey, she said that walls are optional, and we've been in bounds for the last 10 minutes. Well, here we are going out of bounds again. So we plunge our way out of bounds behind that save spot, of which I also want to make note. In this game, when you open up a save spot, it gives you a radius of where you can save in. Up in the top right corner right now, it says saving possible. You can see down in the mini map in the bottom right hand corner that there's a light area and a dark area. The light area is where we can save. Just keep that in mind because it will become important here in just a few minutes. We make our way over here, and we plunge our way out of bounds again, because walls are always optional in a NieR game. I say always optional in a NieR game. They're always optional in this game, but I imagine they are in Replicant as well. I just haven't had a chance to learn that speedrun yet. If anyone in chat knows, be sure and tell us so that I can know whether I'm giving correct information or not. While we're out of bounds there, we did several things. One is we moved past a barrier that was blocking our way. Normally you would have to go talk to an NPC and she would blow it up and there's a cutscene and it just takes a long time to happen. So we plunge out of bounds and just go around that wall. The other thing is then we stay out of bounds and walk along the edge so that in dangerous territory so that we can make it all the way into the true desert area without triggering the desert intro cutscene, which costs us another 5 seconds. We're just going out of our way to avoid cutscenes to save time. So that's what we're doing there. We then take a short 30-second detour so that we go pick up a pod program. I know I found that pod while I was doing my casual playthrough, but it's sort of out there in the middle of nowhere, and it's not on the map. You just have to sort of notice it. So it's entirely possible that you just completely ran past it at some point during your casual playthrough and never got it. But what it does is it allows us to swap between pods so we can fire our big pod laser and then swap to our other pod and fire another big pod laser. It also allows us to fire 2 pod lasers at once. And I did not get it. There is a skip here called Stupid Rock TM. Like the small little TM trademark. It's called that because it's just a really stupid. You sort of plunge your way into the side of that and it can get you beyond a rock that allows you to just literally save like 1 second. It's a super finicky trick that saves basically no time, but when you get it, it looks really cool. It's sort of a swag strat kind of thing. we head over this direction, which is going towards an apartment complex. And if those of you who have played the casual game recognize this area, you think, oh, we need to go follow that robot around through a literal maze of buildings, chasing it. And it says some pretty hilarious things, not gonna lie. But instead of that, because we're speedrunning this, we're just gonna make our way over to this apartment here, and we're gonna plunge out of bounds again, because walls are optional. We make our way this direction, and we're sort of going straight to the boss fight, but we have to do some things in the meantime. We need to trigger like the story to move forward, because we haven't chased the little robot guy around. So we come over here, we do some swinging and attacking, and then we jump here so we can hit a story trigger. You can see that it moved on the mini map, so it's now in the boss arena. But that's not all. We then have to take a jump over here and land on this platform so that we can trigger the actual event to start. We mash self-destruct on our way down because it holds on to our speed as we move down, and it keeps 2B from like flailing and landing awkwardly. And then we equip our virtuous contract in both weapon slots as the heavy attack. That allows us to do damage glitching with both weapon sets, what is colloquially known as double damage glitch, because what happens is you damage glitch once, and while the sword is swinging around in the air, you swap to the other weapon set and you do it again. So you're able to, now we have effectively doubled our damage output if you're really good. Unfortunately, that's a whole lot of things going on the controller at once. You can probably hear me mashing my controller. What I'm pushing is I'm mashing my left trigger so that I can turn on and off my flashlight so that we can taunt these enemies. You'll know they're taunted when their faces get all red and you hear the sort of like the hiss of steam coming out. I'm also dashing and using heavy attack. I'm also pushing up on my D-pad to change my weapon slots, and I'm holding the left bumper so that we can fire our what is that? My long-range weapon. Yeah, the pod. Thank you.
Got you.
I'm firing the pod as well. So there's a lot going on in the combat in this game, which is what I said earlier. Combat is the best way that you're gonna save time.
Did you also mention that you were doing the right trigger to do all the perfect time dodges? I don't know if you mentioned that in the flurry of button presses.
No, I did not mention that, but that is something that was happening there. Wonderful. I've been having a bad day on this fight, but we managed to get to level 6 before Adam attacked us twice, which skips a cutscene, saving us 5 seconds here. Now you're gonna see the pod fire twice because the second pod's gonna come in and they're both gonna fire off. And then I'm gonna swap to my second pod and fire it again, giving us 3 pod shots instead of just the one that we would normally have had we not ran off to take that 30-second detour in the desert. So it's incredibly useful to go pick that up. The amount of time that it costs to go get it pales in comparison to the DPS gain that we get. Fortunately, he just doesn't want to go down, but there we go. As soon as you see the level up marker, then you'll know we have finished off the fight. The fights, for whatever reason, the boss fights, you never actually have to take them down to 0 health. You have to take them down to like 3%. I'm not sure why that is, but it is what it is. Next, the game is gonna make you feel like this area is collapsing around us, but it's not actually. You're not in any hurry except for the fact that we're just in a speed run. You can just stand there in that collapsing arena as long as you want. There's places underneath. You can always, if the floor falls out underneath you, you can always get back up high enough wherever you need to go. It's no big deal. 9S is now saying that we need to leave this area because we're in a canyon. He can't contact the bunker. So we need to leave the bunker, or we need to leave this area so he can call the bunker and give him a status update on those machines that were so lovingly birthed by other machines in the cutscene that I skipped. Which brings us to the box skip. This skip is really finicky and I hope it works out for us. You need to push the box 1 and some change times, pod launch in, and then immediately dash to the left. And that will get us out of bounds, where we then come this direction. We get a little bit of height, and we land on some ground, and we make our way just right into this save area from the save spot that we turned on earlier when we were at the desert camp, and we're gonna go ahead and save warp our way back to the desert camp. This saves time over just like RTA timing. This is faster than running back, but this game is timed without loads. And so all this just like casual time that we're spending while that happens is all free time. It's an incredibly huge time save, which is why I opened that save spot specifically after taking the next shopping trip. We try and leave the desert camp, and it's incredibly important that you select continue fighting there. If you do not select continue fighting, it forces you to go back to the resistance camp, which costs time. Otherwise, if you select continue fighting, you're free to do what you want, which includes moving on with the game and heading to the next area, which is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna run over this direction, run up this route, make our little way over here, and we're gonna head to a really huge wall that I'm sure the developers never intended anyone to get over. But because we're speedrunners and because 2B has incredible aerial movement tech, we're just gonna hop right on over it here in just a few seconds. I also want to make note that anytime someone calls in on us on our pod, it makes a little beep beep, sort of like during the anytime someone uses communication in Metal Gear Solid. Remember that happens, because that's not going to happen later. We get the bunker angry at us, and so they stop doing it. They just sort of start just talking to us. So we make our way over that wall, and then we make our way immediately back to the sewers, which is the intended route to go because there is a story trigger there. Anytime you see me doing some weird movement, it's generally because I need to hit a story trigger. We're gonna go ahead and double lift here, make our way over a cutscene trigger, and we're now in what I love, in one of my favorite areas in the game. There's two areas that I just absolutely love in this game, but this is one of them, is the amusement park. The robots with their cute little clown suits and the little hovery robots having balloons on them filled with helium, and the music is incredible. This whole area just like screams joy. I love this area. Unfortunately, we don't get to spend any time in it because we go out of bounds. And once this voids us back out, it's actually good that happened because I need to talk about voiding out. The developers did put in a safety mechanism. If you find your way out of bounds and find yourself falling for a long period of time, they will put you back at the last known spot that you were standing. Keep that in mind also, because that will come in handy later in the run. So we make our way over here, we hit a story trigger, and then we find ourselves back in bounds where we get to ride roller coasters. I don't know if anyone out there is like roller coaster junkie like I am. I love roller coasters. However, I would never ride a roller coaster like these two ride this roller coaster. It is interesting. Generally you get in and you get strapped down because physics pulls you left and right, but you know, not 2B and 9S, they are bold.
Which is shocking considering 9S is literally a Debbie Downer about every single thing you do. I don't want to do side quests. I don't like your outfit. Do you think we could take a bath? 9S, actually be quiet.
Here, he's actually asking us to call him Nines. And 2B's like, no. You know, 2B's just cold and, you know, doesn't have a lot of emotion like androids are supposed to, but also because it breaks Android protocol. Like, this is just another instance of 9S being 9S, like, hey, don't call me by my actual name, call me this nickname, which, you know, is not a thing in Android culture. So just another instance of 9S being 9S. We kill all the enemies here. This section isn't played in a lot of people's runs, but I'm not able to get out of bounds to get the spear there, so we just go ahead and ride it and we kill them. It's a nice little extra experience. Don't mind the dead androids that are literally hanging off of this boss's helmet and strapped to her dress. She's trying to be beautiful, and if you play this game casually, you will learn why. It is a really sad story. There's so many instances in this game where it is just an incredibly sad story. So we go ahead and we pop our buffs and we start damage glitching until her life bar disappears. You want to do that as fast as possible because she walks back to the stage. So the closer to the stage she is, the more time you're saving, because the less space that she has to move back to the stage. Where she then decides, well, if I can't beat these androids with my normal attacks, I'm gonna go ahead and try and hack into them instead. And we get our little hacking minigame, which is our introduction to hacking in this. The hacking is a large portion of 9S's combat. It's really fun, surprisingly. But we don't want to be dealing with it, so hopefully that's the only hacking you will see. We then learn that this boss has just basically decided to use dead androids' black boxes to lure us here. And we're gonna go ahead and kill them as fast as we can and avoid their attacks. And sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you get stuck in a hacking situation. It's not the end of the world. It only costs a couple seconds, unless you start doing it a bunch of times. But luckily, it goes by pretty quick. So we're gonna go ahead and kill all these. I know that a lot of people have trouble during this section because of the weird camera angle. So focus on your mini-map and you can dash your way around this combat arena pretty easily to find all the androids that you need to kill. Next, she's gonna come back out and try a physical assault again, where we will taunt her, we will damage glitch her until she starts talking or until her life bar disappears. She's gonna bring down some more androids. We're gonna go ahead and clear these out because they're only level 1s. They die pretty quick. That's literally never happened to me before. I didn't actually know that those could cast hacking, so that's a thing.
Oh, do we get today's confirmed never happened before?
We do get today's confirmed. That's never happened before. And then...
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah. And then as soon as you see your health bar, or you see your level up tick, that's your cue to self-destruct. We do that because we need low health here, because as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be death warping in just a few minutes. This game handles death sort of like a Dark Souls situation, or Demon Souls, or now Elden Ring. I assume. I haven't played the game. They're not my style of game.
This is correct. This is correct. I'm the Elden Ring player on the mic. Please save me.
Perfect. So what happens is you have all your items and you have your pod plug-in chips, and that's all like attached to this specific body. And so when you die, and that includes experience points, and so when you die, you need to go and collect your body so that you can get your experience back that you've had since the last time you saved, and any items and plug-in chips that you may have had. Small recovery to get us out of critical HP so that we can just pop our way up here, because climbing ladders is slow. And I was saying something about death. When you die, you leave behind your experience, your items, and all these things. So what happens is, making our way to Pascal's village, which is this group of lovely little robots that are waving white flags. They don't want to fight. They don't want to be a part of this war that's going on between the humans and the aliens. So they decided to be neutral robots that end up helping us. So we come over here and we save, and then we're going to make our way back to the resistance camp, where we pick up a key item. For whatever reason, key items, I guess being key items or story items, are different from the rest of all of that, in that it will follow your body. So we're able to go to the resistance camp and then die immediately after and warp back here to the last spot we saved, which is here in Pascal's village. And since we don't get any experience, collect any items in this whole section right here, then we don't lose anything and we get to keep our key items. So it just saves us about a minute of running, which is really nice.
I do want to interject here. One, so that the runner can have a moment to, when you can, take a sippy cup of water. I hope you have water nearby. But then two, I just want to let everybody know that we're at 27,000.
Ooh, 27,000.
We're at the 27,000 marker. We just broke it at $27,039, and I see you with your donations towards that 11 exit run. Let's keep the train going. What if how many people are here? how many people are here right now? If everyone gave one doll hair right now, we would have 11 exits. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just giving a friendly nudge that we are at $27,000 and we're almost halfway to our 11 exit goal. We got a lot of time left in this run, so make sure you get those donations in and get you a chance at getting a PS5, the elusive PS5 that literally no one can get.
Alrighty. So one thing that I did when I did my first shopping trip was I bought an animal bait. Animal bait allows us to go talk to that, go collect a boar or a moose and run as fast as we can all the way back here to the resistance camp. And then because we didn't come back to the resistance camp after we left the desert, we were never given our reward for the desert, which is a room where you can rest and save in. So that allows us to, the door is then still locked. Oh my goodness, boar, attack me, not 9S. I know 9S is annoying, but I need you to attack me. There we go. So we're able to go talk to the door and cut out the chatter that's happening between 2B and 6O, her operator unit. So that we can just move on with the game, because everyone in this game is super chatty. They call you and talk about everything. And anytime they're talking, you can't interact with things. You can't talk to a vendor, you can't save, you can't do anything. So there's a lot of really creative ways that people have found to cancel out that chatter. One being talking to that door. Another would be to shoot these little neutral robots here so that Pascal stops talking to you on the phone call, and you can talk to Pascal in person so that we can move on to the next section of the game. Coming up, we are going to fight that big robot that we fought in the intro. Has now made its way into the city. His name is Angles. And Angles has a really finicky skip. I guess it's not really finicky, it's very deterministic, but it's really tricky to hit the correct spot. So we're going to try and jump through an incredibly small hole in the wall to skip his entire fight. If we miss it, we just jump over the wall, but it's faster if we don't have to wait for him to like bust into the room that we're standing. So hopefully it just goes by nice and smoothly. We open up this save spot because we're gonna use it later to warp there. And then we're just gonna make a beeline to Angles. One of the things that was surprisingly late in my learning of to run this game is how to run straight and quickly. Because we're moving in such this fashion of dash and then attack, dash, attack, dash, attack, it sort of can throw you off in weird directions if you're not careful. And then it's also easy because we have full 360-degree movement to just, be pointed the wrong direction. So we're just gonna beeline it as straight and fast as we possibly can. If that route looks familiar, it's because that's where the side quest was in the very beginning. I did this same double jump and twirl plunge over the wall, and here we are back where we killed the enemies that dropped the item in the sea of yellow. So that's giving you some reference to where we are in the game. We're now back basically where we landed. We're gonna go ahead and go into this building and climb up the stairs, or the ladder, and we're gonna pass one open gap and take the second one. You'll notice the open gap on the right because it's gonna have a slightly different color as we pass it coming up here, and it's just slightly different than the darker non-gaps. So now we've made it up to the floor that we need to. We're gonna dash twice, we're gonna double jump here and dash off to the left. And we make it through the hole. So we just make our way straight over the flight unit without having to fight Angles here, which is just lovely. This fight is really great. It goes by pretty quick, even if you fail that. But the next fight, a lot of people don't know. There's some weird intricacies with how his hitbox works. So you can just sort of stand fly just slightly off to the left in his armpit, and you can fire your pod program. And in this fight mode, your pod program sort of does an attack in a swooshy circular manner. And so by standing in this one specific spot, every single missile will hit him. allowing you to fire your pod program once, change to your other pod, and fire it a second time, and that's literally the end of the boss. It's just incredibly quick.
While we're on a loading screen, I do want to go ahead and read off a couple of very important donations that came in. We have an $11 donation from Air Angel saying hello from the studio. Curse Couch wants to see that 11 exit run. $11 donation train. We have another donation from Boots42 saying $11 train for 11 exits. Chat, that sounds like you're being met with a challenge. Can we do $11 for the 11 exit train? Think of it like this. If you have all the love that you do for 9S, like me and the runner do not, you can show some love because 9S plus 2B is $11, and $11 goes towards the 11 exit. It all comes together. So what are we doing, chat? Are we doing this train? Let's get into it.
Let's do it. I don't know why I was on autopilot there. I went the totally wrong direction. I was thinking that we were going back to the amusement park. Instead, we need to make our way all the way down into this hole that was newly created by Angle's fight that we skipped, details, minor details. And we make our way into this cave where we're gonna find that we have just gotten a signal from the aliens. Just a quick shout out to my violin instructor, Mary. If you're still watching, now's gonna be the time you wanna kill the stream because you don't wanna get spoiled on this because there's no way around this story's situation happening right here. So, now that she has hopefully left the stream, we find ourselves in this fight with Adam and Eve again, or with Adam again and Eve for the first time, who are brothers. We find ourselves in this battle arena, and they go ahead and say, "Hey, we're here. We killed all the aliens centuries ago. Us, the machines, killed them, and now we might even just kill the androids next. Who really knows?" And this whole fight is just an auto-scroller fight. So, it takes maybe a minute and a half, and there's just no way around it. Around it taking some time. But there is some important details that happen during this fight. We do want to kill Eve one time. It doesn't matter if we kill him more than one, but we definitely need to kill him once. Because when you kill him the first time, then you get a whole bunch of experience, which helps us level up one more time, or gets us to level 11. And then at the end of the fight, then we get more experience to level 12. So you want to kill him once just to get that one level up right there that just happened. And then we basically can just sit around and do nothing and avoid his attacks for the rest of the fight. So you have maybe a minute here that you can do a donation or two.
Oh, how wonderful, because it appears that we found another $11 donation from the Curse Couch. We found some more money in the cushions. Weird, very strange finding those $11 just hiding in the cushions, tucked away, probably like a myriad of quarters and random dollar coins that you forgot existed entirely. We also have a $150 donation from Thena52. Keep going, all you awesome people. Love to feel like I am helping the world while enjoying some true skill on display. Now, y'all, you know that this is an opportunity for me to goofily read your comments when you drop off your $11 donations. From what I understand, I do a very good job at reading emojis without actually reading emojis. So, it's whatever y'all want to do. It's whatever y'all want to do. I'm not gonna force you.
That's perfect.
Oh, hey, the fight's done.
Yeah, that's perfect timing because the fight just ended. And I want to make note that as we make our way back through this cave, 9S is complaining. Back this way again? What a pain. And 2B finally has had enough of him, and she says, stop complaining. So that's the next time that 9S is just being 9S. Just cannot stand him. Imagine running this game and hearing 9S complain over and over and over again. It is the worst. But we now have the ability to warp to all of our save points. We have these lovely vending machine save points, And when you unlock one, it allows you the ability to transport to it. But first, we have to go back up to the bunker and relay what we just had happen with these negotiations. This fight between Adam and Eve, and that the aliens are dead. Big happenings down on Earth. So we warp back up to the bunker so that we can tell our commander about this. She gives us some charge to do something. I don't really know what it is. So we'll be back down on Earth here short enough.
While we're traversing back to Earth, that's a word I just made up, traversing, but now I said it correctly. We have another $11 from Captain Clown saying, 11 train, choo-choo. We have $11.11 from Lemon Carrots. Oh, that's an interesting flavor blend. 11.11 for the 11 exit run. And we have another $11 donation from Bree12 AM. Let's get that 11 exit run. Y'all know y'all want to see more content. I know we're enjoying seeing the androids go into what looks like a vending machine to teleport, but we also want to see maximum content.
I'm amazed that these really old vending machines on Earth just have android bodies stashed in them to upload our consciousness to. Honestly, it's a really cool mechanic, a really cool way to do fast travel, but why they have them is beyond me. So we make our way back down here to Pascal's village. We need to ask about these other machines. During casual playthrough, a lot of people just start from the top and work their way down that menu, but you really only have to ask about the other machines to get to move forward. But before we move forward, I am doing shopping trip number 2, which I have a tendency to forget, probably 1 in 4 times. We're gonna go ahead and sell up all of our small buffs, and then we're gonna buy all the medium recoveries we can. We're gonna buy a whole bunch of melee attack larges, which double the length of the time that we have the buff for, from 15 to 30 seconds. We're going to buy some melee and ranged defense, and then we're gonna go ahead and hope for good RNG for our plug-in chips that we now are finally going to attach. We're gonna go ahead and customize type A, and we have critical ups. That will work. You want weapon attack up, but critical ups will work also. I need 3 slots available. System.
I'm gonna sneak in.
Yep, go for it.
I'm gonna sneak in really fast and say, Perry Riposte, as the residential Soulsborne player, I appreciate your name. $11 donation, only $11 to support the best boy. The name that you've included in your comment is incorrect. It is 9S. It is not 9s. I repeat, it is 9S, not 9s. And a badass like Malala, count me in. And we have another $11 donation from Babyface Chris saying, great commentary. And I do want to take a moment to highlight that too. Your commentary is crushing it.
Oh,
like
thank
the
you.
Education, the raw amount of information you're giving for everyone, not just for what you're doing, but also kind of like little snippets of what's happening in the game. I think that that's like a lot to aspire towards. And it's fantastic, like absolutely wonderful.
Oh, good. Well, we have finally equipped our plug-in chips, one of which is the resilience chip that we bought back at the very beginning of the game. The way the resilience chip works is that if you have over 80% health, then any attack that you take or any damage that you take will not knock you back anymore if you have that plugged in. That's why we buy 99 medium recoveries, so we can just sit there and eat the damage and not lose time to being knocked back. So the resilience chip that you buy in the beginning is extremely important. Also, while I was explaining that, 9S decided that he was going to ask to be called 9s again, so that's just another instance of 9S being 9S. Ugh. And we go ahead and we talk to him, and when you open up some menus with him, then you can sometimes move around a little. And that allows us to just walk through a cutscene or a talking trigger so that these enemies just fall straight down instead of having to wait the 10 or 11 seconds that some dialogue happens there. We fight these enemies, and then we make our way into my other favorite area of this game, which is the Forest Kingdom. This area is big, it's sprawling, and it is a maze. Unless we're speedrunning it, as you'll see here shortly. I remember when I first came here that like there's areas with large groups of enemies. There's literally like 15 or 20 robots all in one spot. They make for some really great fights. And this area is huge, and it has just so many different places for you to go and explore, and so many different options where you think you're going the right way and you're really not. it wants you to snake around through the whole area. Instead, we're just gonna follow this river through these bushes, make our way right past this fighting squad of robots that are ready to attack on sight, up this huge giant boulder, and over another river, where we will make our way to the incorrect bridge, the place that, you normally wouldn't want to go to during a casual playthrough. I mean, there's items over there, so you can go exploring, but that's not the way that you're expected to go to move the game forward. This bridge
go ahead.
This bridge
Oh,
is
go
the
ahead.
first
You're talking
one.
about the bridge.
Yeah, that bridge is the first one that I tried to go to that didn't get me where I wanted to go, which is all the way over there. This next area, this rubble bridge, is the next area that I tried to go. As you can see, there's an item right there. So they expect people to come here and explore, but they want people to run across that bridge off in the distance. Instead, we're just gonna, use 2B's incredible aerial movement, and hopefully... Nah, that one was never gonna work.
Oh no!
It's okay. This is one of the tightest movement windows in the game that we have. So the fact that I didn't get it on the first try, not really a big deal.
Well then, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let you focus because the train is chugging along, and I'd like to acknowledge people for their train because I said I would, and I'm a woman of my word. We have an $11 donation from Anonymous. We have another $11 donation from Ren. One ticket for the train, please. Shout out to the runner for her amazing commentary while simultaneously destroying the game. We have a chunky $555 donation from Jason LaRose. 11 exits times 5 bows is 555. I never said that I was good at math. We have another $10 donation from Alpha saying thank you for all that you do. Uh-oh, I thought I had another train come in. Is there another train? I think we had a request for a bonus train. Let me double check.
There we go.
I'm gonna make sure I'm hearing it correctly. Ah, yes. And then for those of you who are, again, we try to keep things nice and balanced. If you can only spare $5, that's okay, because according to Rurik, I'm learning so much about NieR Automata. The runner's explanations are just fantastic. Can we get a $5 train going?
All right, while that $5 train kicks off, I have made it across the bridge, and we find our way to a route, and we just sort of dash and punch into it and break out of bounds again because walls are optional. This is a really incredible 2D dungeon, 2D side-scroller dungeon that we just skip entirely. It's really unfortunate that we skip it in the sense that it's my favorite dungeon in the game, but it's awesome in the sense that the developers put those solid windows back there for us to just jump up to the 6th floor without any effort. Make our way to the save spot and then to the boss chamber. This boss is just really super finicky with her RNG, so we're gonna hope for a really clean fight. She has a tendency to dash in and out of the battle arena, so we're gonna hope that she doesn't do it too much. As we come up here, we pod launch right at the edge of that light so that we save 20 seconds walking up to the Forest King here. I really encourage you to play through this casually because you will find out why the Forest King is a small baby, and it's just this really sad, incredible story. So it's absolutely worth your time to do that on your own, to go through the side content of this dungeon. We get our charge that we're supposed to go ahead and attack A2 here, even though she's an android. I guess she deserted Yorha at some point, so we need to, so we are told to attack her. She likes to, like I said, she likes to dive in and out of the battle arena, which kind of makes this weird and can just like reset the fight in weird ways, but this is going pretty smoothly. And when she's done, she runs off to the left and jumps out the window. Now, the game says, hey, let's go follow her, but we're speedrunners. Who needs to go the intended route when instead you can just plunge over the giant wall, the giant invisible wall keeping you in this arena and keeping us away from the literal 2-minute talking conversation that happens if you follow A2. We transport back to Pascal's village so that we can show Pascal what just happened to see if Pascal, who's been around forever, or hundreds of years, actually knows anything about this A2 unit that we just ran into. So that's where we're headed right now. So we were just in Pascal's village, we came to the Forest Kingdom, and now we're warping back. Okay.
I do want to just highlight that we had 2 more $11 donations sneak in. We have another $11 from Anonymous. And then Boots42 says, $11.11 and just says, choo choo. Keep those trains going, y'all. We're almost there for the 11 exit goal.
Unfortunately, Pascal has no idea who A2 is. So he suggests we should maybe go back to the resistance camp, talk to someone there. Maybe Anemone knows. Anemone being the leader of the resistance. So as we have just spent our good 20 seconds maybe in Pascal's village, we're immediately leaving again. Which brings us to another interesting way that we cancel conversation. We warp back here and we get this conversation about 2B asking 9S why he went to Pascal first, because androids aren't supposed to like interact with, non-sanctioned robots or whatever. That whole conversation happens, but instead we just sort of run over there to the left where there's a jukebox that interrupts that conversation. We then go talk to Anemone and we pop out of bounds to run to the back of the resistance camp because our charge now is to go to the sunken city. As you'll notice, the sunken city is over here, down this way. So we just plunge twice out of bounds, and then we wait to void out. We plunge twice, then we twirl, and we jump, and that will get us into the cutscene trigger, and then we void out, and we come back here, and we plunge again all the way down to this area, which is where our ultimate goal is in the sunken city. Notice that 9S right here is talking about how he now wants to take a bath. He wants this combat to be over so that he can take a bath, because apparently that's a thing that androids do. 2B quickly scolds him and says, with regular maintenance and cleanings, baths are unnecessary. Why would you need a bath? And he says, well, because it feels good. So, just another 9S ism.
Again, they're an android. Androids don't play in water.
Yeah,
what
water
are you doing?
Seems like a terrible idea. We go ahead and we do as much damage to this spinner as we can because it is just the most annoying thing in the world, and then we deal with the small little robots that like to flail their arms around. It looks more impressive when you get stuck in a dodge animation than it really is, because they're flailing their arms in like this sort of motion like this. It's really easy to if you're getting hit once, you're getting hit multiple times. So really when you're dodging when you're dodging once, you're dodging several times. So we close them out. We cancel out a conversation trigger with a cutscene trigger, which brings us to the next shoot 'em up section. This is a literal 13-minute auto scroller, so I'm gonna leave this to Twisted to read off all the donations that she's got. So make sure and bring those in because we need all the donation content we can for the next 13 minutes.
Indeed. And also this gives you a chance to kind of just rest up a little bit. So now y'all get to listen to me and my extended commentary for a little bit. So first and foremost, we got some more donations from the donation train. We have an $11 donation from Kate Lib saying, 9S please. Cursed Couch wants to see an 11 exit run. You're doing great, Lizzie. We have another, oh no, we're trolling the host now. Okay, this is fine. We have another $11.09 donation. I can't believe all this 9S hate. My boy deserves nothing but love. Loving the run, nonetheless. And I saw your bonus note afterwards. Oh God, please don't call him Nines. I'm begging you, don't give him the satisfaction. Please, please. We have another $25 donation from Paige, about $550 per exit. That sounds worth it to me. Let's get there and let Frozen Flygon show her stuff. We have a $50 donation from Pork Chops for Breakfast. Wanted to give some love to my boy. You almost caught me there. Y'all chat, you almost caught me. My boy 9S, and one of the greatest games of all time. Glory to mankind. We have a $5 donation from Frozen Flygon saying, I both met Lizzie and played NieR Automata last year, and I don't think it's a coincidence because they're both awesome. Good luck on the run. I know you've prepped so much. You've got this. We have a $5 donation from Paradox Systems. Lizzie will become gods later. We have a $50 donation from Quality Finish. Not my first time watching or donating, but my first time leaving a message because this game means the world to me. NieR Automata was my reintroduction to video games after a 10-year hiatus. This game single-handedly resparked my love of video games because of how breathtaking and artful and straight-up fun it is. I love the depth of the storytelling and the way the game really uses video games like an art form to tell a powerful and compelling story about humanity, which doesn't actually start until the later endings, but that's okay. If you like what you see today, it's worth the play. Thank you, Lizzyberry22, for bringing attention to such a beautiful game and taking an artful game and making it even more artful by showing how to play it with mastery and to become as gods with how fast you complete it, and while drawing attention to such an important cause. I also love the callback to NieR Replicant by having Wisey there. We have another $11 donation from Extreme. Choo choo! We have an $11 donation from P. Cole. We have 2B and 9S, but how about we 11E for 11 exits? We have another $11 donation from Anonymous. 11 doll hairs to SMW, 11 exit. Let's go. We have a $100 donation from Dirty Laundry. Kill the animals. Wait, which run is this? We have... I'm trying to see which ones have come up and which ones haven't. We have another $50 donation from Kate. 9S, please. Hi, Lizzie. Sending another donation from the studio. Cannot wait for 9S, not 9s, to make a mess of things for you. Best of luck from Carrie. We have a $25 donation from Bunny Tails. The Bunny Brigade is here to cheer you on, Lizzie. 9S, please. We have a $15 donation from Eldritch. The NieR games are special to me, as they're one of the few games that have made me feel very strong emotions. I'm always happy to see it is on the GDQ stage. We have a $15 donation from Anonymous. As a teacher, I have to support. Love watching all the women gamers and supporting the goals of young women becoming leaders to be a part of the change in the world. We have another $5 donation from Perry Repulsed. Only $5 to support my boy. Alright, y'all. Y'all gonna get enough of trying to troll the host. If you've ever been to my channel, you already know. We don't do the jokes around here. This is not a game anymore. If you donate and you're trying to play a challenge of make twisted read puns, you will fail. You're gonna fail. Don't try it. We have another $50 donation from Anonymous.
I just want to say I love puns and absolutely try and troll Twisted.
Oh my gosh, please don't do this to me. That's a running kind of gag, is leaving comments and chat messages to see if I read the pun. And it's always a case of me catching it or not catching it and then feeling miserable afterwards. We have a $50 donation to Chris. And by the way, that's an actual challenge. If you think I'll read your pun, donate and see if you can catch me. I have another $25 donation from Anonymous. And I have a $29 donation from Astral Storm. Yeah, that last $5 one actually almost caught me. It almost got me. It almost got me, but it didn't quite get me. A couple of other things I want to let people know. We have surpassed 28,000. We've surpassed 28,000, and the 11 exit incentive has passed the $4,000 mark, so we're less than 2,000 away from having Frozen Flygon showcase some fantastic exits for us. Oh no, I'm reading chat and I made the mistake of seeing the message I was highlighted in. I am sorry that you like my attitude because I'm actually very messy, but that's okay, it seems to work. It seems to work for everybody. Just as some reminders too, if you've somehow forgotten amongst all of this commentary and all this fantastic gameplay, all the donations for Frost Fatales are going to be benefiting Malala Fund. Malala Fund is helping young women all around the world achieve their secondary education and, as one of our donors pointed out, becoming the change that they want to see in the world. Make sure that you buy stuff over at the Yeti. We have a full Frost Fatales catalog that's live right now over at theyeti.com. And for every shirt that's purchased, the Yeti's going to donate $5 to Malala Fund. And for every pin that's purchased, they're going to donate $4 to Malala Fund. If you're not familiar with the Yeti, I honestly, I don't know how that's possible because they hang out in GDQ's chat all the time. They hang out with a lot of the runners, and they're very chill, very great company to be partnered with. Very cool to actually put together these kind of fun incentives and donation trackers and whatnot so that they can kind of get in and help out with some good work too. Trying to decide if I want to read some more. You know, I'm gonna read another donation. Oh, we have an $11 train donation. Wonderful. We have $11 from QB. There was once a monster named Grun, the all-scrullo that can't end too soon. We can't rot it out, so just give it a shout and watch all the orbs go boom.
This boss's name is Grun. That's where that comes from.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
I was going to say, I'm familiar with NieR Automata, but I haven't played it yet myself. I just know that it's very, very sad. We have another $11 donation from Cam that says, choo choo. And then, okay, see, this wasn't even a good attempt. He just took a deep breath and just wrote the word a bunch because they're trying to get me to say this nickname. I'm not saying it. Chat, you can't make me say it. I refuse. I refuse. I rebuke it. I rebuke it. We have a $25 donation from Zerios, an unmet incentive. This cannot continue. I also wanted to kind of highlight, in terms of Malala Fund, we've talked about it previously, we're going to talk about it again, is Assembly. That's their digital newsletter that is actually started from, ooh, hold on, now I need to take a drink of water. It is created as a platform for girls and young women around the world to share their thoughts, challenges, accomplishments, all those good things. And for all of us to learn about the new generation of leaders. Again, Malala Fund's building out, bringing up the next wave of women leaders. You got to deal with it. It's going to happen. They're here. They're going to take over the world. You can learn more about this over at malala.org. I have another $11 donation from, I think it's Churi. I'm going to say Churi. If I said your name wrong, I apologize immensely. I have a $50 donation from Sliced Pound Cake. Ooh. Oh, I love pound cake. Pound cake is delicious. That's wonderful. Sorry, I really enjoy sweets. Please ignore me when I sidetrack like this. I also have a $50 donation from Maddie. I have another $11.11 donation from Anonymous. Buddy doesn't want to pronounce 9S, but what about... Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense. I'm not reading this one. That one was an attempt. Attempt dodged. They tried. I have another $100 donation from Plato. And a $25 donation from Nathan Collins. So while we're in this really, really long, extensive, just the world's most egregious auto-scroller, I'm going to say it's the world's most egregious auto-scroller. I saw there were a couple of things that came up in chat that didn't quite get touched, and that's fine, because I can help touch on that a little bit. So the first thing was a couple of people asked about, so where does NieR Automata take place in terms of all the NieR content? And as it was mentioned earlier on, it kind of is an offshoot from an ending in Drakengard. It's very interesting because the Drakengard ending that it's referencing was kind of a joke ending that they just kind of put there, and you could tell that they were just like, you know what, sure, there's a flower, it poisons people and kills folks, question mark? Yeah, just ship it. And that actually led over to NieR Replicant and the startup of that entire story, which is the prequel, so to speak, of NieR Automata. And I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it just yet in case there is space to talk about it a little bit later, but you'll kind of see where the big twist comes in at the end of it's either this ending, or if you go and play the game, I think it's ending B. It's one of those two. And you'll start understanding why this is just, the entire story at large is extremely, excruciatingly sad. And that doesn't even get into the side people that we've talked about, like Pascal's story. Absolutely heart-wrenching. There's a recurring character in the series that when you find their origin story, literally will put you to tears. It's hard to deal with. But yeah, it's a offshoot of an ending from Drakengard, which then leads to NieR Replicant and then leads over to NieR Automata. A couple people have also made comments about the OST in chat. The OST, bangers only. Bangers only. Oh, this is such an exceptional soundtrack. And even if you don't play the game, I highly encourage you to give the OST a listen because it's probably one of the strongest OSTs you'll hear, point blank period. Oh no, there's puns in chat now. Let me read some of this nonsense too. If 9S were to play golf, would their favorite club be the 9 iron? That's yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. Oh, here we go. I have another one. A $25 donation for pork chops for breakfast. If my name is Red, I'll give another $25.
All right.
Alrighty.
And that ends the longest auto-scroller known to Android kind.
Woo! We did it, team!
We did it, team! So there you
yes,
can see Grun just standing off in the distance. That's the big machine that we just killed. We're gonna go ahead and do some long distance maneuvering here to try and find ourselves in another load spot, which skips a large chunk of dialogue and having to traverse the sunken city. It spawns us back over here, which is really nice because it saves us a lot more time than it seems just to like fall straight into the ocean and then respawn on the other side of the map. We're gonna do that again right here as well. And it loads us up looking back. We were just right there over on the other side of this room, but it's surprisingly large and looks deceivingly small. So we do it twice there just to save a little bit of time. And here we're coming up on another really tight out of bounds clip. This is called the copied city clip. If I would have gotten the spear earlier in the game, this would be really easy to do. But since I don't, I've gotten pretty good at doing it with just the sword. You just sort of have to run here into the corner, point to be in this direction, and not quite make it. That's okay. Let's go ahead and reset our camera here.
I'm gonna sneak in while you're doing that. I have another $11 donation from Kate Liv. 9S, please. Important question for pushing that 11 exit run. Which Pokemon does 2B, 9S, and is that 6-0? It is 6-0. Each like? I bet 9S enjoys Pidgey the most. Ooh, I agree with that. He would like a Pidgey. He would like a Pidgey. No, you know what else he would like? He probably would like a Diglett.
All right.
He totally would roll a Diglett.
So we made our way through the wall there, and we land in the right next to the elevator, which takes us down here to the copied city. You can see that it looks like a city, only not, which is why it's called the copied city. Pay no attention to all the dead androids floating around or laying around. It's just a giant android graveyard meant to draw us in here. We're going to attempt a skip that is finicky right here at the start of this. If we can pull it off, then I'll go ahead and explain it. If not, then I will just let the fight happen.
Also, those trains are still open. Let's keep that $11 train alive. We're almost to the goal for the 11 exits push. We are currently at $4,142 of the $6,000 to reach it. So keep that $11 train going or start your own $5 train, and the challenge is still out there. You think I won't miss your pun? You think I'm gonna read your pun? Try your fate with a donation. See if you can get me to read a pun live.
All right, so after 4 attempts, we have finally made it out of bounds, and we ran around the wall that keeps us in the battle arena. The reason being, this is another one of those scenarios where people got creative to find a way to get rid of conversations that happen. Because this whole fight, the first 2 phases of this fight, is literally just Adam mansplaining the plot to the player, to 2B. So that's why this is so lovingly called mansplaining, this skip. So we make our way back to the elevator, and then we punch and back out, and it kills the whole first section of this fight, so that it stops him explaining to 2B what's going on in the game, because we already know what's going on in the game. We've been playing it. And we make our way to this fight. This is another chunk of auto-scroller fight, but this one's much shorter than the last ones. So we're gonna go ahead and pop our buffs. We're gonna go in and do some damage. And as soon as 2B says, I don't have time for this, I need to find 9S, Adam's just like, oh, ha ha ha, you need to find 9S. Yes, you do. 9S is lost because in the last game, or in the last section, he left the battlefield, which is another 9S-ism. He broke protocol and left the battlefield, which is why we're now having to search for him here and fight Adam all together. So thank you for that, 9S, for having us deal with this lovely machine here. We go ahead and once we're through those first 2 sections of the fight, we're finally able to kill Adam, as you see, and we have to remember 9S here. I forget 9S all the time, and then you have to go and do that whole auto-scroller section again. So do not lose 40 minutes of your time having to do all of that over again, or 40 minutes in your run by forgetting 9S there. There is an alternate ending if you leave the battlefield after the fight is over without collecting 9S that basically says, 2B left him, he waited for decades, and she just never came back. That's my preferred ending to the game. But since this is the A ending run and not the like L ending or whatever it is, here we are moving on with the game. We now have to go check in on the inbox for the first and only time in the game. The game has been giving us mail from Command, from the humans, from everything that's going on in the game. It's just another way to tell part of the story that's happening. And we really only have to check it this once to get our charge, which is to go find new trends among the machines. Because we just killed Adam, the machines are acting a little haywire. So we call Pascal and she says, hey, you know, we were just contacted by some machines in the factory, that place where the intro was. So let's meet up there and we'll go from there. We'll see what they want. We make our way there, and instead of going the intended way by climbing up on a bus up onto this overpass, we just jump because 2B has amazing aerial tech. Like, thank goodness for the developers giving 2B so much amazing movement. That's really what keeps me coming back to this game, is how much fun it just is to play. So we make our way all the way over here, back to the factory, which is where the intro took place. You can come back here at any point in the game. You can go collect your body, and there's a really sad side quest that you can do that ends up here in the factory. A lot of the quests in this game are just really sad. This game's story is all about what it means to be human, and it just really hits home in a lot of instances. It does a really good job of pulling that off. So we find Pascal here at the entrance to the factory, and they have a short little conversation before we finally get to go into the factory and wait some more. So we're basically in a hurry up and wait situation right here. So we just make our way this direction. We're gonna go ahead and talk to the robot that's right inside this door. And then we're gonna have to wait 30 seconds for him to walk over to the elevator. It's 30 or 45 seconds for him to walk to the elevator. He even makes comment, because we're speedrunning, we move quickly. Instead of hanging out with him, he even says, you don't need to hurry so. His grace won't run from you. But we're in a speedrun, so we need you to hurry, man. But that means, Twisted, you have like 45 seconds here to get donations in.
Delightful. I have an $11 donation from Becca, flipping the game on its head. I'm willing to pay you for puns, Pleasantly Twisted. $11 each for the next 10 puns you read before the end of the run. Do it for charity. I accept this, and I need 10 puns to read if we want to hit that incentive immediately, if not sooner. I also have a $150 donation from Char Bunny. Let's go, Lizzyberry. So excited to see you running NieR for this event. I've been looking forward to this run since it was announced, and it's already fantastic.
Perfect.
Is that man still walking?
No, we are in the elevator now, and we
Delightful.
we talked to Pascal to get a dialogue box open, so that as the elevator goes down, it passes through a talking trigger with the dialogue box open, so that the dialogue trigger doesn't happen. That saves us like 2 seconds, 2 free seconds just to talk to Pascal. We make our way in here, and we find out that this group of friendly robots is not in fact a group of friendly robots, but they are in fact a group of robots that have decided that they want to die and become as gods. So, I mean, that's where we're at in this game. We're gonna make our way over to this corner, and we're gonna pod launch right through the wall, And as we void out, for whatever reason, the game thinks that when you reset and void out, that it thinks that you've killed enough of the robots to unlock this elevator. So we go ahead and push the elevator button and wait for it to come up. And we just defend ourselves until it opens, and then we get in. And this is going to start a really long string of events that happens here for the next skip, which is called Deep Factory. So we leave the elevator. NieR has now taken over a robot because he's up at the bunker. Why he decided to take one over, is anybody's guess. I'm calling that a NieR-ism. We jump up onto this pipe, and then we lift heavy attack. Maybe. We lift heavy attack, dash into this corner, and pod launch through the wall, please.
I'm just gonna go ahead and rip off some of the Band-Aid. Someone in chat said, I hoped one of those puns would make Twisted laugh, but no pun in 10 did. I actually feel my soul escaping from my body, and I dislike it. I dislike it immensely.
Puns
We
are
also have another
amazing.
We also have another $11 from Ramira. $11 train hype. We should be nearing that 11 exit incentive, right? Hype for the Mario runs.
There
You want
we
me to
go.
read one more?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, good. You're good.
We have finally gotten out of bounds. The reason being that we need to get out of bounds is when you void out, it resets a room, which closes the elevator doors, but allows us to get back in the elevator and go up. When we come down and the doors open and we talk to NieR, they just stay open, so you can't ride the elevator back up. It's important to be able to ride the elevator back up because this room is extremely high within the factory's architecture. So we're able to come up here onto this pipe and jump out of bounds right here. With that, we can dash through this wall, we can plunge, and then we can mash or self-destruct until we get to that door and void out. And unfortunately, I didn't pull it off that time. You have about a quarter of a second to void out while you're in the door frame so that NieR unlocks the next area for you.
I have another one.
There we go. Give me just 1 second here.
You're good.
We have had NieR unlock that door by hitting that story trigger, and then we just double plunge right over here, and we're now at the end of the factory, saving us like a 5-minute trip through it. So now you can go ahead with your next pun.
Oh, God help me. Would you consider that 9S is dressed to the nines, though?
Oh, I love that one. That one's amazing.
It hurts. It hurts.
I really love that. We're gonna go ahead and ride up here to the boss chamber, and this is what I consider the start of the final boss rush in this game. We're very near the end here. We're gonna go ahead and start this fight, and what's gonna happen is, as the cutscene happens to start the fight, I'm going to, while the game voids you out, if you've been falling for a certain period of time, for whatever reason, if you just hold the jump button up here in a little section right here, which you'll hopefully see when the camera pans back, we'll just be floating up in a corner. Unfortunately, I missed it, but that's okay because we have opportunities to get back up there. We basically just make our way up here and then plunge into the boss because mistakes were made. Let's try it over on this side. There's no real time save to doing this, but it does allow you to not have to deal with the boss's attacks. So we get to just float up here for the next 30 seconds while 9S resets the power in the factory. Why we're doing that, I guess it shuts off the lights. Maybe that's gonna like keep the boss from seeing us, but the boss still attacks us, so I'm not really sure what 9S thinks he's doing here, but we have to wait for him to reset the power in the factory. He goes, all right, I'm almost there. 92, 95, 98, and then there's 15 seconds of silence. And it's just like, I remember during the casual playthrough, I was thinking, did my game just break? Because there's so long before this happens. But eventually the game lets us back down onto the ground, and the boss fight starts. We go ahead and we pop our buffs, and then this is one of those fights where it's really important that we have the resilience chip, because if I don't attack his legs like I just did on accident, then he'll be attacking us and just hitting us constantly. So it's really useful for the resilience chip to be had. We take out his health bar, and then he'll like curl up into a ball, and then we just need to do one final hit to end the fight.
I have another one.
Go for it.
We're near the end. Oh man, I hate that I agreed to this. Oh my god,
think of the charity.
I am thinking of the charity.
So we finish off that fight and we ride our way back up. This next area would look familiar if we hadn't skipped our way through a whole section of the intro. But the end of the area will look familiar because we basically find ourselves back where we were in the intro, leaving the factory. So we're gonna do basically the exact same thing we did when we went through the factory the first time. We're gonna plunge out of bounds, and then we're gonna run along the side of these lava pits, and we're hopefully not gonna find ourselves stuck in a bad spot where invisible walls prevent us from getting back in bounds. But we'll just have to wait and see. So like I did earlier, we're gonna come up into this corner, we're gonna hop, skip, and a jump, and plunge out of bounds, maybe. There we go. The one difference between the intro and now is we have all of these robots just hanging out on the side. So we have to double jump instead of just pod launching. We have to double jump before we pod launch so that we don't accidentally pod launch ourselves into a robot. That time it worked, and we were able to make our way through the out of bounds and out of the factory. We can go ahead and skip.
I have one more.
Okay.
This game is near to my heart.
Oh, there's so many good uses for the word near. This is amazing.
Oh God, help me. Yep, we got a few more left before we end the run. If you want to hear me suffer a little longer, please drop your. Oh God, I'm gonna say this. Please put your puns in chat. Help.
Yeah, go for it, because we've got maybe 10 minutes left in this run. So get them in now while you can. We are booking it back to the resistance camp. As you'll notice on the mini map, there are going to be large groups of enemies that start falling down from the sky. The reason being is all of this is a consequence of us having killed Adam. Adam and Eve basically ran the network for years and years and years, or I think something like that. So with one of them having died, we've sent half of the robots on the planet into a whole frenzy. They've gone, that's why we just had the whole factory situation, and that's why we have large groups of enemies that are just swarming now. So that means the resistance camp is under attack. So we make our way back to the resistance camp. Unfortunately, there's no way to skip this all these people running out of the camp, because it's like an in-game scene. It's not a cutscene, it's rendered. So it's like, we just have to sit there and wait for the 5 seconds until we get back into the camp. A lot of people think that you have to kill all those enemies in the camp, but really you just have to kill the ones that are back here in the back. So we're gonna go ahead and pop all of our buffs, and we're going to massacre every single enemy that's back here, which is a very large chunk.
Okay, I'm gonna sneak in to say from Shadow Gamer, I didn't mean to replicant any puns.
That was a good one. I like that one.
Oh, wait, we got some more. They are also near to releasing the anime. I think that's the last one I have. So more. Oh, there's another. Mocha, that one. Now I'm not reading that because that's a repeat. It's another one about being dressed to the nines.
Okay.
That's a repeat. Do we want to read that? Do we count that, chat? Does that count towards the ticker or no? Because I can still read it.
I'll let the chat decide on that one. We have our next boss here, which looks like the boss we just killed. Interestingly, it's not the same, even though it looks like it is. So this is another one of those sections where it's incredibly useful to have that resilience chip, because we're just standing in this electrified water taking damage. But it's the exact same fight as the last time. He has the same attacks. He has the same situation. He'll curl up into a ball, and then we just need to do a little bit of extra damage, and hopefully this fight will end shortly.
So this one isn't a pun, but I want to read it because it tickles me, because it's tech humor. You know, 2B and 9S aren't made by Apple, since you can clearly see they're running Android. That one actually got a laugh out of me. I appreciate that one. That was good. Okay, we have, is it to be or not to be? I've seen that one before. I've heard that one before. Yes, more original puns. More original puns. And chat says repeats don't count.
Okay,
chat
repeats
says
don't
the repeats
count.
don't. They said repeats don't count.
Alrighty. Well, we brought the boss over to that specific area because the core, that's core 1, this next fight is core 2. Like I said, we're in a boss rush now. That last fight, the core is sort of like in the middle of the orb, so it's elevated off the ground. So by its fighting it while we're at a little higher of an elevation than it, we're able to stand on solid ground and do our normal attacking measures and just slaughter it. We make our way over because we get a call from Pascal that the back entrance to Pascal's village, the city entrance, is being attacked by robots and that he needs help. So we head over that direction, kill some enemies, and then core 2 will pop up. And we're gonna pray for good RNG because there has been runs where this boss will drop the core on top of this rubble here in an area where I can't reach it. So we're gonna hope for good RNG that it drops it here in the middle of the field instead so that we can kill it off quickly and easily. Let's go ahead and heal while we're in this menu. Level 19, beautiful. You just need to be level 18, 19, somewhere in that range for the final boss fight to be a reasonable fight.
Okay, there's actually a few coming in now that are giving me some good chuckles because y'all are getting creative with it, so this is actually kind of funny. Okay, I've got Fant saying she's nearly had it. I love this username. Tom Nook's dead. I always knew this run was going to be amazing, but I never expected the counter raise to be so A2. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it so much. Lizzyberry is such a good runner. This game is nearly automatic. Oh my god. Okay, some of these are actually really good. Oh wait, there's another one that was, I am just glad this game is not sponsored by Budweiser, or it would for sure have been named Beer Automata. Help. Help. Oh my god. Oh, if Grover was in this game, it would be Near and Far Automata. Help me. Also, do you have time for some donations, or would you like to resume the mic?
Nope, we are good. We are walking into the final boss fight at this point, so we have no time for any more donations.
Uh-oh. Well, I see the $11. I will give you some love and support, I promise, but there's no puns in them anyway. So, you know, thank you so much for more $11 train. Let's keep it going while we get through this final boss fight. Get the hype train going.
I just want to make note that Eve starts this fight off with everything must die, so whatever happened in that cutscene must have escalated things quickly. I don't know what happened in it because I skipped the cutscene and haven't seen it in months. But this is very similar to the rest of the fights, except that we need to kill Eve extremely quickly because he has a phase between 65 and 30% health where he'll bring up these panels of rubble that you're supposed to jump on to get to him, which take forever. Thankfully, I was able to do enough damage to move him through that phase without him actually pulling up those platforms, so we get to skip the platform section. No wonder he's doing so much damage. My buffs ran out. He can be extremely dangerous if you're not careful. So we need to really be on top of healing during this fight because he will drop you quickly if you're not careful. That's phase 2 done. We're moving into phase 3 where he has exploded himself. And now he's decided that he can fly because, you know, that's just something machines can do now, apparently. And this is the point in the fight where we basically just take a nice break and we pop all of our buffs and we fire our pod program as much as we can. And then we stand at a healthy distance so that as you can see, he likes to fly around a lot. But if you stand sort of at a healthy distance where your locked on fire can still hit him, but he doesn't move around too much. Or at least that's the hope. You know, it seems like he's not cooperating today, but that's okay because the rest of the run has been really great. So just any,
that actually leads to a question donation I had.
Sure.
1101 base with a $50 donation said, Lizzyberry, will this be a new PB?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the time is yet, but we will know soon enough. I don't think it will be because I got stuck in a few spots. So I got stuck on on Rainbow Road bridge skip, and I got stuck on Deep Factory getting out of bounds. So I don't think it will be. But overall, it's been a really clean run, and I will take it happily.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I love that for you. Do we have a moment for a few of them while you're fighting, or should I give the mic back?
Yes, we do, because this is all the rest of the fight is just mashing, is just shooting him and keeping our buffs up.
Awesome. So we have an $11 donation from Kate. I saw this in chat and it had to be a donation. Best Celine Dion song, near, far, wherever you're, huh? Oh, wow. That's got power to it. McClunky Culkin with a $10 donation. What's going to happen to these runs after the marathon? They will become as VODs.
Oh, I love that one. That one's really great.
That one's got some good power to it too. I have an $11 donation from Azu. I ran these crossover raids so many times. Someday Roulette might even let me run the tower at Paradigm's Reach again. I think that's a Final Fantasy 14 reference there. Because they have the NieR raids.
There was a crossover, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
I don't play Final Fantasy 14, so I've never played them, but there was. We're right at the end of this fight here. All we basically have to do is walk up to him and start that cutscene. And then we walk over to 9S, and at the end of this conversation is when time will be. I'll step you into it, but we have just 10 seconds maybe.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to sneak in one more. From Hellion, $11. 9S, or S? What shall it be?
All right, so here they go, but we can't upload this corrupted data to the bunker, so 9S or 2B is like 9S 3, 2, 1 time. And that is NieR Automata A&D, Flower for Machines.
I just realized with the commentary I added about Drakengard, Flowers for Machines makes that much more sense.
Oh, does it? I've never played Drakengard, so...
The main character in Drakengard, literally at the start, loses her eye. She's also an android of sorts, and the eye is replaced with a flower.
Oh. All right, well, that is NieR Automata A&D. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all for the donations. That was really amazing. It's supporting such a wonderful cause. Thank you, Twisted, for reading the puns for an amazing cause. Thank you.
I do what I can.
Thank you, Games Done Quick, for putting this event on, or for the Frame Fatales for putting this event on through Games Done Quick. It's an amazing group of people. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And this game is really fun. The community is really great. I'm not even super involved in them. I'm not in the Discord or anything, but everyone that just pops into my channel and helps when I'm having trouble within the larger NieR speedrunning community, like, they just find me, even though I don't like advertise that I run this game. And they're all just so welcoming and amazing. So it's absolutely worth your time if you're into games with really awesome movement tech, a lot of game breaking out of bounds and stuff like that. It's, as you just saw, it's really just super fun. So thank you all for watching. That's all I have. Gala, do you have anything? Thank you so much for being there for me just on the off screen and just being my emotional support. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad that you got the second menu because I know that was my main role here to remind you, but you remembered, so really good job. You did a great job.
Awesome.
Alrighty, well, I am glad that your run went well. By the way, I have a time for you if you're interested. Time on screen says 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 35 seconds. Awesome. I'm going to blame some of those weird jump walls that you had to deal with. We had some of that yesterday too, so that's completely understandable, completely reasonable. Well, thank you so much to both of you for hanging out with us. I've got some straggler donos I need to read as well, but I don't want to hold you up. You've been talking a lot, and I think you deserve something a little bit more robust than a little bit of water. Alrighty. Cool beans. Well, let me go ahead and while you're still here, I can read some of them too. We have $11 from Geekella, $11 saying, let's go 11 exit. I have $11 from Gojira. Are you nearsighted? If so, use a large font on that A2 sized paper. Oh, wow. I hate that there's paper humor in that. We have a $22.22 donation from Mike. Here's double $11 just so Pleasantly Twisted has to read maybe one less pun. Joke's on you. I probably went way more than 10. I know that I did. I have another $11.10 from Tundra Wolf. Loving the run and the commentary. Lizzyberry22 has definitely gained another follower. I also have the aforementioned $121 donation from Becca. I know it's tough to be given such a hard time by the chat, but you're near the top of my list. Don't get it twisted. We love everything you do. This is the best $121 I've ever spent. Oh my gosh. That was actually a lot of fun. That was really fun. It was kind of corny. It was more than kind of corny. It was excruciatingly corny. I'm not gonna hide that. But before we go on our big break, I do have lots of updates for everybody. We have, with the use of the pun train and many other trains, we've broke $29,000. We're over $29,000. Great work, everybody. For the $29,000, we are also about $1,200 away from the 11 exits. The 11 exits. We're so close. We are so close. We can do it, team. I believe in us. I believe in the you that believes in me. I read puns for charity. I think we can do it. We also have a few other donations. We got $25 from Bookworm saying, more Mario. Let's go. And we have a $10 donation from Anonymous. We have a $55.11 donation from Aura saying, but the real humans were all the machine friends that we made along the way. Which, again, if you go forth and you play NieR Automata, again, I haven't played it yet myself. I know a lot about it because I started to play it as an early streamer on my PS4. Highly recommend it. Excellent game. Wonderful story. We just saw an excellent run put on by Lizzie. Thank you so much for that. And just as a reminder, not only are we about $1,200 away from the 11 exit run, but all those dollary dues that you're donating are going to Malala Fund. Malala Fund is working to make a future that has more women educators, more women with access to secondary education, and just reshaping the way that we think about and talk about education in the world at large. Oh, I see the Frozen Flygon emotes are starting to show up. The hype is building. The hype is increasing. We're ready for some Mario runs with Frozen Flygon, but we need those last $1,200 so we can maximize our Frozen Flygon time. We can do it. I believe. Oh, we have a straggler pun. We got $5 from Captain Clown. This run proves they should too be called Replican, not Replicant. Okay, we're going back down the corny train. Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting news. We've crossed $5,000 on the 11 exit run. You know, you're leading me to believe that you want to see this 11 exit run. You're leading me to believe that. But before you can convince me, we're going to take a small break. This is your time. You already know the drill. Get up, stretch your legs, stretch your arms. Arms get neglected in that. Go get a water. Go get a tea. Have a nice tea. When we come back, I want to know what your beverages are, and we'll be with you in just a moment. And welcome back, everybody. I hope that you went out and got a beverage. This is your quiz because I said I was going to ask and I want to know, what are we drinking this evening? Preferably PG drinks. Hopefully they're PG drinks. We're behaving. None of this nonsense that y'all like to do elsewhere where you're doing all these fun beverages. I do have a couple more donations that came in. We got a couple straggler puns and a couple of straggler $11 donation trains, which, the train doesn't have to stop. I'm just saying, it doesn't have to stop at any point whatsoever. We could just keep it alive always. We have an $11 donation from Eris TGD. Got to donate 11 for 11 exit. Choo choo. We have a $111 donation from Jason LaRose. One more bow times 11 exits. That's $111, right? I am still not good at math. We have a $500 donation from Anonymous. Thank you so much for contributing to Malala Fund. And also, make sure when you're putting in those donations that you are actively choosing that incentive. We want more Frozen Flygon. These are just facts. I don't know how to I can't lie to chat. I don't know what this lying aspect is. We just want more Frozen Flygon because we want more bows. And we want more bows because we want more Frozen Flygon. I mean, so I have one more donation that I'm going to read from Math Hacker for $25. Good luck, Mario. Let's get that 11 exit. And I believe that our honored guest, Frozen Flygon, is here with me. Perhaps. Maybe. Uh-oh.